Welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where today we've got 10 teams who are back on the rise. Let's get going. 10. AC Milan. We begin with a club whose return to the big time is long overdue. Talk of AC Milan reaching their previous heights has been going on for the best part of 3 years, but now it looks like it's actually possible. After the failure of chairman Lee Yong-hong to keep up loan repayments, the club was taken over by Elliott Management Corporation in 2018, and it already looks like they are in better hands. The Rossoneri's league performance has improved, with Gattuso's side confident of a first top four finish in 6 years. And while they are overperforming in expected goals for and against, their investment strategy shows they're also building for the future under the guidance of sporting director Leonardo and club legend Paolo Maldini. In 2 years' time, the capture of Christoph Piontek and Lucas Paqueta for a combined €70 million could look like one of the bargains of the decade, especially considering the Polish striker is averaging a goal every 95 minutes at the time of recording. Meanwhile, Paqueta has drawn comparisons with a young Kaká, whose arrival at the San Siro in 2003 was largely down to the work of Leonardo. The prospect of the pair playing in the Champions League is very exciting indeed. 9. Parma. Sticking in Serie A, Parma's fall from grace following the glory years of the 90s is astronomical when compared with Milan's recent crisis. In 2015, the three-time Coppa Italia winners were forcibly relegated to the non-professional Serie D after failing to find a buyer to relieve them from huge debts, making their swift return to Serie A just 3 years later pretty surprising. In fact, it was the first time an Italian club had achieved 3 promotions in 3 seasons. Manager Roberto De Aversa was in charge for 2 of those campaigns and has enjoyed his first venture in the top flight thus far, with his side finding success in pressing their opponents and attacking incisively. And the club's recruitment has also benefited this, with experienced heads Bruno Alves and Gervinho both signed in the summer of 2018. 37-year-old Alves was instantly made club captain and has been majestic at centre-back, winning over 3 aerial duels and making over 6 clearances a game, while also contributing to 4 goals from the back. Gervinho, now 31, is the club's top scorer at the time of recording with 9, averaging a strike every other game, and is vital to their overall attacking play, winning the ball back 1.5 times a game and completing over 2 dribbles a match. If De Aversa can maintain this winning formula while recruiting younger talents, Parma could once again become Serie A mainstays. And if you want to hear more about the Italian top flight, make sure you subscribe to Euro Football Daily right now. 8. Lille. Unlike Parma, Lille have enjoyed a relatively steady jaunt in the top flight since returning to Ligue 1 back in 2000. However, their 17th place finish in 2017-18 was nothing short of a disaster. It represented the club's worst top-flight performance in 21 years and saw them escape relegation by a solitary point after coming from behind to beat eventual droppers Toulouse on the penultimate day of the season. The club's Marcelo Bielsa experiment fell flat on its face, with the Maverick coach winning just 5 of his 19 games in charge. And while his successor Christophe Galtier only just guided them to safety, he made huge strides with the team in 2018-19. At the time of recording, Les Dogs sits second in the table behind PSG, which is probably deserving of a trophy in itself. Propelled by the excellence of Nicolas Pepe, who has contributed to 25 goals in 29 appearances from the right wing, Lille are a force in French football once again, having last achieved a top 3 finish back in 2014. And while Pepe will likely move to a bigger club come the summer, Galtier seems like a safe bet to keep the club on a solid trajectory, considering the success of his 8-year stint as coach of Saint Etienne and the emergence of young talents such as Jonathan Okone. Fans in the northeast can look forward to a bright future. 7. Leeds United. Just 15 months after his calamitous stint at Lille, Marcelo Bielsa is the most popular manager at Elland Road in a generation. In fact, the only manager in Leeds' history who comes close to matching the Argentinian's 56% win percentage is Don Revie, far and away the club's greatest ever coach. Granted, at the time of recording, Bielsa has only taken charge of 41 games, Revie oversaw 740, and he isn't contesting top-flight football. Nevertheless, it is still quite a feat for a man working in England for the first time and in a championship that is stronger than it's ever been. And it's been a long time coming for the Peacocks. Since dropping out of the Premier League in 2004, they have barely threatened returning to the top tier, save for a playoff final loss to Watford in 2006. Bielsa's meticulous approach to management has seen a new work ethic brought to the side, with players even having to stay over at the training ground if he feels they need to. Bielsa has even fitted reading lights and a fireplace to give the place a more homely feel. The style of football has of course been fantastic, while Spygate provided English football with one of its most entertaining stories of recent years. Even if Leeds don't make it to the Premier League for 2019-20, the groundwork has been laid for the side to get back there in the coming seasons. 6. Luton Town. Down in League One, there is a club in the process of completing an even more remarkable comeback. Luton Town are set to gain promotion for the second time in 2 seasons, having contested non-league football for the first half of the decade. Relegated to what is now the National League for the first time in their history in 2009 after years of financial irregularities, the club were taken over by the Luton Town 2020 consortium, which included former club captain Steve Foster. And under this new ownership, the club has gone from strength to strength. They won promotion back to the Football League in 2014 and were led to the heights of League One under Nathan Jones 4 years later, with the manager's tremendous work ethic earning him a move to Stoke at the start of 2019. He left the Hatters sitting top of the 3rd tier. And life after Jones hasn't been all that hard either. Caretaker Mick Harford, who was actually manager during those dark days of the late noughties, has lost just 1 of his 14 games at the time of recording. What's more, the club have also had plans to build a new 23,000-seater stadium approved, meaning they can finally say goodbye to the beloved but dilapidated Kenilworth Road. 5. Real Betis. The recent history of Real Betis has been fairly mixed. They've had 3 relegations in the last 20 years, enjoyed a top 4 finish and Copa del Rey win in 2005, and even broke the world transfer record back in 1998. But since their most recent return to the top flight in 2015, the Seville club have gone from strength to strength. And their masterstroke was undoubtedly hiring Quique Setién, who arrived as manager in 2017 after impressing during his 2-year stint at Las Palmas. Setién has turned Betis into one of Europe's most entertaining sides, getting the very best out of the players at his disposal and attracting some inspired signings. The capture of Marc Bartra midway through the 2017-18 campaign helped to evolve Setién's hyper-attacking vision, bringing a top-class ball-playing centre-back into the mix. Meanwhile, the loan capture of Giovanni Lo Celso saw the PSG man move from CDM into a more attacking role, and he is currently the club's top scorer with 10 in all competitions. Add to that William Carvalho, who is enjoying his best season to date after finally moving from Sporting, and Diego Lainez, who at 18 is one of the hottest prospects to come out of Mexico in recent times, and you can see it's a pretty good time to be a Betis fan, even if their form has been hit and miss of late. 4. DC United. Over in the States, a sleeping giant has well and truly awoken. DC United haven't won the MLS Cup since 2004 and haven't been truly dominant in the competition since the 90s, when they made the first 4 finals, winning 3 of them. The last 10 years in particular have seen the Black and Reds league performance dip considerably, recording just 3 wins in the entirety of the 2012 campaign, an MLS record. Fast forward to the 2018 season and things were looking similarly bleak, with the club bottom of the Eastern Conference having won just twice after 14 games. However, the arrival of a certain Wayne Rooney changed things. Rooney was handed the captaincy after his 3rd appearance, and DC lost just 4 of their remaining 20 games, qualifying for the playoffs as the league's form side, with the former United man ever present. Rooney's presence also got the best out of Argentinian forward Luciano Acosta, whose rise to prominence in the same campaign has since attracted interest from the likes of PSG and Fenerbahce. Just a year ago, a return to MLS glory was merely a pipe dream for DC fans. Now it's a very real possibility. 3. Brescia. Though they never got near a Scudetto or even a Champions League place for that matter, Brescia happily became part of the furniture in Serie A in the early 2000s. The club, which famously spawned Andrea Pirlo, thrived under the tutelage of manager Carlo Mazzone, who was able to attract Luca Toni, Roberto Baggio and Pep Guardiola to play for the club, with Guardiola counting the coach as one of his biggest influences. However, by 2004, all of those players had left the club and results on the field dipped, resulting in relegation the following season. They haven't been back since, with the exception of a forgettable 2010-11 campaign, and in 2014-15 were relegated to the 3rd tier, only to be reinstated in the division due to the punishment dished out to the aforementioned Parma. The purchase of the club by former Leeds owner Massimo Cellino in 2017 would have rung alarm bells for many, but it's turned out well thus far, and 2018-19 has been their finest season in some time. Aided by the brilliance of Alfredo Donnarumma, who has averaged over a goal a game since signing for the club in 2018, Brescia sit top of Serie B with just 3 losses at the time of recording, the kind of form which could see them successfully stay in the top flight should they make it. 2. Ajax. Like others on this list, the comeback of Ajax has been an ongoing process for some time, and they're now really reaping the rewards. In 2012, Mark Overmars joined the club as Director of Football and Edwin van der Sar as Marketing Director, with the former goalkeeper now the club's CEO. Despite not winning an Eredivisie since 2014, Ajax has thrived under their guidance, with an abundance of talent springing from the club's youth setup and the re-adoption of Cruyff's total football philosophy on the field. When they contested the 2017 Europa League final, the average age of their starting 11 was just 22, with only one player over the age of 24 and a centre-back partnership featuring a 20-year-old Davinson Sanchez and a 17-year-old Matthias de Ligt. Frenkie de Jong didn't even start that game, but 2 years on is the club's most valuable export after securing a move to Barcelona for over €75 million. Meanwhile, their performance in Europe has hit new heights, as they became the first side in 4 years to knock Real Madrid out of the Champions League. For context, since lifting the UCL in 1995, they have only made it out of the group stage 3 times, with the last occasion coming 16 years ago in 2003. While the loss of de Jong and likely departure of de Ligt will no doubt hit Ajax, the money they receive for such talents will likely be reinvested in the club wisely. In the long term, we can only see the Amsterdam Giants getting stronger. 1. Montserrat. Okay, so we're going slightly rogue by picking a national team for our final spot, but the story of Montserrat is truly remarkable. A literal case of a team rising from the ashes, Montserrat is a relatively young footballing nation, contesting their first game in 1991. But sadly, 4 years later, a volcanic eruption destroyed the country's capital, led to thousands leaving the island, and stopped footballing activities altogether. With a population now standing at just 5,000, Montserrat's team is largely made up of players from the English non-league, and after losing a World Cup qualifier to Curaçao in 2015, didn't even contest a game for 3 years. However, with the dawn of the CONCACAF Nations League, the team are now able to play more regularly, taking part in 4 games since September 2018 and winning 3 of them. That's pretty amazing considering the national side lost every match they played between 2000 and 2012, one being a 13-0 loss to Bermuda, and they now sit above 11 other teams in the FIFA World Rankings. They may be a tiny nation, but Montserrat are making great strides on the football field. So those were our 10 teams who are making a comeback, but can you think of any more? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out all the other great stuff on Euro Football Daily, and of course, hit the like button and subscribe. See you later.